ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् Verse 285 विद्वांश्चेतादृशां मध्ये तिष्ठे तदनुरोधतः कायेन मनसा वाचा करोत्येवाखिलः क्रियाः. So Vidyaranya continues with the topic of this Jivan Mukti from verse 251, pointing that his Mukti is unconditional, centered on Atma. That's only an unconditional thing. Any nature is unconditional. And therefore, if our Mukti centered on oneself is unconditional, then that it must be its nature only. Yeah. If Mukti is acquired, then it is that acquiring of a mukti also is due to some condition. Then it will go away when the condition goes away. But if mukti is unconditional, then the Atma must have been already free, but I was taking it differently. So that is the thing. And therefore, here, centered on Atma, and Atma Jnanam, his Purnatvam is unconditional. It cannot be challenged by any, we have seen it cannot be challenged by any experience. So validity of his Jnanam basically is unconditional, cannot be challenged by opposite experience. Any Jnanam born of a valid Pramana can never be challenged by the worst opposite experience. And therefore, this Atma's Purnatvam, etc., well, Atma Jnanam, well, cannot be challenged. His Trupti is not affected. We are discussing the Trupti, the Phalam. So his Trupti is not affected by any condition. And here condition we generally means lifestyle. Knowing this alone, Shastra gives him a complete freedom. When Shastra lifts any kind of a Shastra does not have any restrictions and pertaining to the Jnani, we should understand that, well, definitely his mukti is unconditional. So, Shastra gives him complete freedom, no vidhi, no nisheda, etc. Then Shastra talks about both the things, pravritti, nivritti. When Shastra gives him complete freedom, means, well, either he can remain pravritta, either can remain nivritta. No pravritti or nivritti is described for him. Karma anushtanam also is not there, pravritti. And karma parityaga, etc., nivritti also is not prescribed by the Shastra for him. Not only that, both are not prohibited for him also. So, neither prescribed, neither prohibited. Neither prescribed nor prohibited for him. What? Pravritti and nivritti both. That's the thing. So he's not, that shows he is not bound by pravritti or nivritti, naturally. Even lokasangra, etc., well-being for the others or service, etc., also is not a vidhi for him. Means he should do, etc., also is not there. This is a condition. Like, the children go, the parents give a freedom to the children in the vacation. Whatever they want to do, they do. They remain in home, no problem. They go out and play, no problem. So this is that kind of a thing. That's a real freedom children have in vacation, right? Otherwise, when the schools are open, then they give freedom from this study, etc., for some time. Then they should return. But in vacation, total freedom. Remain in home, no problem. Nivrutti. Go out, pravrutti, yeah, that also is okay. That's kind of a thing. Anyway, so what will be the lifestyle of a Jivan Mukti then? That's a question. Either pravrutti or nivrutti. Well, so we'll say two possibilities. First is he goes by svabhava. Of course, svabhava, his svabhava, but it is not adharmic svabhava naturally, because as a sadhaka he has definitely avoided even adharma also. That's how he has gained purity and everything. And therefore, definitely it is a dharmic svabhava. And the second thing is, that is one basis for his lifestyle. Second thing is, he may choose to do a loka sangraha using his free will once he decides to use his free will to bless the world, etc. And then the types of services, etc., he offers will depend upon the surrounding and their needs. Based on that only, Vidyaranya divides the surrounding in two types. The first one, which is discussed here in verse 280, in 284 and 285, both discusses this particular type of a setup. So one type of a setup, requires a pravrutti. And they are, the surrounding, the people are there, they are interested in a karma. And karma is a sadhanam for artha, kama, dharma, etc. Or karma is a sadhanam for jnana yogyata. So either they don't have a value for moksha, etc. And therefore they do not have a value for a qualification also. So for them, karma is not a karma yoga. Karma they just look upon as a means for acquiring something which they don't have. And that is artha, kama and dharma. And so that kind of a surrounding this jnani is in the surrounding of such thing. Then definitely you need a pravritti. Jnani choose for others, for the sake of others. Pravritti. Because jnana yogyata also requires a pravritti. Karma yoga. Karma yoga is not possible without karma. Anyway, so basically, definitely he will choose a pravritti marga. And now in second type of a setup, or the second type of a group around, let us say, is not interested in anything. They are not interested in artha, kama and dharma, etc. And they have jnana yogyata also. Suppose, let's say that way. He's put in such a place where he's surrounded by the people who are jignasus. Who just, and jignasa shows they have jnana yogyata. So, they have a certain jnana yogyata also. So then karma anushtanam on the part of pravritti marga is not required on the part of a jnani. In fact, the others require nivrutti, so he will choose a nivrutti. So this is what has been discussed. 284 and 285 discusses that jnani chooses a pravritti marga based on the surrounding where people require pravritti for their welfare. And therefore he will choose a pravritti marga. And the second one, which will be discussed in 286, etc., where he is surrounded by the people who are having a certain qualification, certain maturity, then he will choose a nivrutti, etc. Anyway, so wise person basically choose either pravritti or nivrutti depending upon the surrounding. So here it is in, of course, 285 it is said, Tadrusham madhye. Tadrusham is this people who require the artha, kama, dharma or jnana yogyata. Tadrusham madhye. Suppose he is there in the middle of these people. Akhilaha kriyaha karoti eva. Then he definitely practices even religious activity also, even upasana also, parayanam also he may do, everything he will do. His mindset is different. The mindset of a jnani is different even in a pravritti, and the mindset of the surroundings, the group, is different in a pravritti, same pravritti. All are chanting, suppose, doing parayanam, Navratri parayanam. Jnani is also doing Navratri parayanam, Durga Saptashati parayanam, suppose. And surrounding people are also doing. But the mindset is entirely different. Pravritti is one, same pravritti. Mindset is different. While all other people around, they are doing this for the sake of gaining grace of Ishvara. I am a sadhaka, I am a seeker, and I need a grace of Ishvara ultimately. That's a very daylight thing. One who says that there is no need of a grace of Ishvara, well, it's very difficult for him to gain moksha. That's for sure. Bhagavan himself also says, and this is said by acharyas also everywhere in Vivek Chudamani, Dhatuh Prasada. Recently only I came across a verse in teaching. Dhatuh Prasadena. Dhata, Vidhata. Ishvara by Prasada. Prasada means grace. By the grace of Ishvara only he will ultimately gain. Purushartha is there. That is his free will, he has to exercise. But then God also has to use his will. So both. Ultimately, will of both will definitely leads to the success. Jiva's free will and God's will together only. Everything, entire creation, entire human life, life of anybody, any being is a joint venture of two. A cosmic being and an individual. Everything. Fate versus free will. Okay, this is how it is. Fate is God's will, and Jiva's will. It is free will. Oh, it's an endeavor. Creation is an endeavor. It's a partnership between the two. No event is independent, just based on will. No independent is just based on God's will. No. And therefore God is free from defects of what is that? Nairgrunya. Nairgrunya means, well, he has, when some event has taken place, 130 people died. Oh, this is God's will. No. Why God's will? To even go to that particular breach itself is a free will. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. But point is, even that this incident happened collectively also, it's a joint prarabdha of everyone. So we should understand, there is nothing, no independent phenomena in the world. There is no independent phenomena. There is not anything totally based on Jiva's will. There is nothing which is based on God's will. It's all the time a joint venture. And that is what very clearly, very beautifully said. This is there as an implied meaning in that 47th verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter. Well, that is what karmani eva tava adhikara ma phaleshu. Simple. So in karma you have your adhikara, free will. Phaleshu, the situations, etc., the result ultimately, prarabdha. Well, there you do not have your will. That's my will. Bhagavan said very beautifully. You can take in an implied way this. I'm going little astray, but this is just I wanted to clarify. So here, this jnani, tadusham madhye akhilaha kriyaha karoti eva. So he will do all the kriyas. But the mindset, as I told you, is jnani does not look upon himself as a sadhaka, naturally. So he deliberately entertains. Exactly like the actor entertains a particular role in his mind, that this is a role I am playing. It's a deliberation, very much deliberation. On Ajnani's mind, to look upon himself as a seeker, etc., is not deliberation. He takes it himself as a sadhaka only. That's due to Ajnana, Due to ignorance, he takes himself like that. But on Jnani's part, definitely it is a deliberation. So he knows that I am not a sadhaka and there is moksha is not a sadhya, etc. Everything he knows. But for the welfare of others, for the next generation, for the children, he does. Saktah karmani avidvamsah kuryad yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvan tatha asaktah. We know this statement also Bhagavan says very beautifully. Vidvan asakta san kuryat. Anyway, now verse 286, in which a second group of people surrounding has been talked about. Let's read. Esha madhye bhuputsunam yada tishthet tada punaha bodhayaisham kriyah sarva dushayantyajatu swayam. So Vidyaranya talks about a second group of people. They are also adhikari basically, and they are interested only in knowledge. Bubhutsuhu, not bubhukshuhu. Bubhukshuhu means one who desires to eat. Bubhutsuhu, one who desires to know. So, bubhutsuna madhye, among this type of people who have a desire for Atma Jnanam, yada tishthet, if Jnani lives between them, if Jnani is there between this group, then well, he should not encourage pravrutti, naturally. He should criticize pravrutti, in fact. He should encourage them for jnana. So, sarvaha kriyaha dushayan. Sarvaha kriyaha dushayan. Showing dosha in the kriyas. Defects, limitations rather. Limitations in kriya. Nitya nimitik karmas. He should show limitation, that this cannot take you further. Kruti mahodadhau patana karanam phalamashashvatam gati nirodakam nupadesar kruti mahodadhau patana karanam. It's an entanglement. Mahodadhau means in a ocean of some kruti, karma. If you remain, well, then the whirlpool will come. And patana karanam. You will go into that. That is how it is. So, phalam ashashvatam. You should show the limitations of a karma. Nitya nimitta karma. The karma phala is ashashvatam, etc. Anityam. You are interested in some nitya vastu. Your goal is, you are desiring a goal which is nitya vastu. And therefore, definitely this karma cannot help. Gati nirodakam. Gati means moksha. Nirodakam. It's an obstruction to the moksha. Moksha is just, you sit down and know that you don't need any karma for fulfillment. Yeah, that is what the thing is. One may not have an idea of a fullness, but one definitely desires to get rid of smallness. That we can definitely say. Because smallness is an experience. Fullness is not an experience. I mean, you cannot visualize the fullness. Samaji, fullness also is an experience. But then at that time we don't know. In deep sleep we have just fullness. I mean, there is no limitation. But in a waking state, if you try to visualize the fullness, you will not be able to visualize. But the smallness is your experience. So moksha is, we say, ultimately is freedom from the sense of smallness. Then you can appreciate easily. That is appreciable. Anyway. So, yada tishthet, if he is in between such a type of people, bubhutsunam madhye, sarvaha kriyaha dushayan, you should talk about the limitation of karma, nitya, including even nitya nimittik karma. You should say that, it invokes karma. If you continue karmas, ultimately, if you remain active too much, then kartrutvam also should continue. Otherwise, how will the karma will be possible? Kartrutvam continues means jivatvam continues. Ultimately, ahankara continues. And therefore, here in this knowledge, you have to simply negate that you are not ahankara. Taking oneself as ahankara, you take yourself as a limited being. You feel bound, naturally. And therefore, that is to be negated. To be negated, then definitely this karma, etc. has to be reduced. Plavahyate adrudaha yajna rupa. Mundaka Upanishad also said very beautifully. Anyway, so When Bhagavan also said lastly, before giving up the microphone, he said, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam. Sarvadharman, sarvakartavyan parityajya. Anyway, and Shankaracharya ji, Chittasya shuddhaye karma, natu vastu upalabdaye, vastu siddhi vicharena, na kinchit karma kotivihi. Karma kotivihi, crores of karmas also, well, will not give you the moksha. So Dushayan, so this is the way he criticizes in a different surrounding. He should, now he himself, he is maybe a Nivrutta or maybe a Pravutta. But if it is a Pravutta, well, he will also choose to be Nivrutta. Bodhaya, well, definitely for the sake of giving, Bodhaya for the sake of giving knowledge. So in one means that our karma means karma indriyas are active, and here jnanendriyas are active. So Vidyaranya says you should not merely verbally say this, he should stand and lead them. He himself has to give up the karma, etc. Swayam tyajatu, he says. Swayam tyajatu, either reduce or renounce. What? Nitya nimitta karma. This kamya karma, etc. is that has gone much before. That's a very beautiful design in the Veda. Initially, the person chooses, in the beginning of a grasthashrama, brahmacharya ashrama is a life of study. To understand the design is a brahmacharya ashrama, Vedic design. You should gain knowledge. That's a brahmacharya ashrama, life of study. To understand this Vedic design. Then you start, based on that design, gaining knowledge, now you start life. So initially, the person is having a lot of desires. So the Veda shows kamya karma. Depending upon the pressure of his karmas, kamanas, desire, he may, cross the boundaries. So nishiddha karma also he may do. So Veda does both the things. Veda shows kamya karma, at the same time give him, he has of course a knowledge of nishiddha karma, but that will bring, it will be brought to his mind. These are the nishiddha karma. This is not to be done. This is not to be done. This is not to be done. In fact, if you choose any kamya karma based on the Vedic design, well, it automatically will follow dharma. And therefore, the person who is having a lot of pressure of kamanas and doing kamya karmas, also refrain from nishiddha karma. If you follow Vedic kamya karmas, you will gain your kamanas will be satisfied, definitely. But at the same time, you remain within the boundaries of dharma. And then if this will continue for some time, in a grasthashrama, then definitely one gains a certain purity naturally. And therefore then nitya nimitta karmas will be introduced. Okay, you have gained much. Now your stomach is full. Okay, do something for others. Okay, do something for others. Nitya nimitta karma, panchamahayajna. And if he does it, grasthashrama is over. That's it. Because he has gained yogyata. Then, well, jnana, nivritti. That kind of a thing. So, but here Jnani does this. Jnani basically does in order to set an example for others. So, and when others give up ultimately after gaining Jnani Yogyata, the renunciation is basically sadhanam for them. For Jnani, renunciation is not required as such, but he practices, he practices as a model. Verse 287. Avidvadanusareణ vrittirbuddhasya yujyate stanandhayanusareణ vartate tatpitayatah. So Vidyaranya says, well, this is what we see in the world. What I am saying about the Jnanis, that he behaves according to the surroundings, etc., either a pravritti or nivritti. That he says even we see in the world this kind of examples, that mature people always live life which is conducive to the next generation of life. That's what he says here. So they don't need actually many things, but for the benefit of children. Like if children have to play on force, basically, the father is playing with that. Father can walk on two legs, but while playing with the child, he will walk with four legs. So this, so goda goda, something like that. So he does that. So I mean, not only just action of the children he adopts, language of the child also he adopts. So mum, etc. So everything. So this is called here vritti. Avidvad anusarena buddhasya vrittihi. Vritti means a living. Living includes this action as well as some language. All this will be followed by what? By mature person. So, and they hope that ultimately the child will definitely grow up in a way, in the same manner the way I have grown up. That's what the desire the father has. Similarly, Guru also uses a language of a shishya. Oh, you are jiva, you should seek mukti, and karma cannot give you mukti. So kindly give up this nitya naimittik karmas. They will not give you shashvata phalam. All this, gain atma jnanam, etc. Do regular shravanam, do nididhyasanam daily. All these things he says. But frankly speaking, in a guru's eyes, looking for mukti itself is a foolishness. You can follow what I'm saying, and therefore, but still he does, because the person who is ignorant, of course, he has a jnana yogyata now, but still he is ignorant. And therefore, still he says, I am a seeker of a mukti, etc. So he says, yes, you are a seeker, you should seek mukti. All other purusharthas will not help you. Karma is a sadhanam for all the other three purusharthas, etc., etc. So he goes to their level and talk. The way father talks like the mum, etc. to the child. So, avidvad anusarena, in keeping with ignorant person, in accord with the ignorant person, anusarena. He goes to this level of seeker. Buddhasya vrittihi, language and lifestyle of a jnani, yujyate is proper. Yatah, because stanandaya, means he is giving example now. So stanam dhayate iti stanandaya. So a suckling baby, etc. So stanandhaya anusarena, in keeping with the baby, which is stanandhaya, etc. So with a small baby, the father also does in keeping with the movement, language, etc. actions, in keeping with the baby's movement, baby's language, etc. So stanandaya anusarena tat pita vartate. So his father definitely acts in keeping with the child's action, child's language, etc. Ultimately, for what purpose he is doing? The mature comes to that level. Why? Because to help the child to come to the same level of the father. For that purpose he does. Verse 288. Adikshiptastadito va balena swapita tada na klishnati na kupyeta balam pratyutalalayet. And in this process, even the way, the intention of the father is very good. Now Vidyaranya shows here that the intention of father is good, but to whom he is teaching all this, his intention may not be good. Means he may get irritated. The child may get even irritated, etc. That's what he talks about. The father wants to bring the child to his level of maturity, but often because of the immaturity of the children, they don't understand the intention of the father, and they criticize. Or whatever the father does, the child may not like. But father continues to love and have compassion for them. Children, well, they definitely want to live, but the father does not leave them. So he has only one aim: the child should become mature, like me. That's it. Similarly, Jivan Mukta also is a father, you know, of an entire universe. And every Ajnani human being is immature, baby. So Jnani handles differently with a single motive, somehow that they should grow, so they should come to this level. This is called Lokasangraha. This is a Lokasangraha. He doesn't need anything. He is a mature, but he goes to the level of immature and um, remain with them and bring them, make them mature. Adhikshiptaha. Adhikshiptaha means insulted, criticized. In example, the child father example. So, so Adhikship insulted or criticized. Tadi tova, sometime baby kicks the parent, not beating except, but baby, it kicks the parent also, baby father. So adhikshiptaha taditaha vapi balena. It's a passive voice been shown. I have told you in active voice. Baby kicks or insults or criticize the father. Swapita na klishnati. His father, well, definitely, na klishnati. He does not get disturbed by the misbehavior of the child, baby. Na kuppyeta. Well, he does not only does not get disturbed, na kuppyeta, he does not get angry also. Pratyuta, on the other hand, what he does, well, he fondles baby with extra care. Lalayet, fondles. So this is an example. Same then, here in Dashtanta, what Jnani does and what people say, well, he says now in 289. Ninditastuyamano va vidvan ajnaila nindati nastauti kintu tesham syat yatha bodhastatha charet. Asau ninditah, this by spiritual babies, were criticized, stuyamanah, or praised. Who? Vidvan, wise person. But what does he do? No, nanindati. Well, wise person does not retaliate, wise person does not criticize. Nastauti, he does not praise also them. So from by Jnani's angle, definitely actions of the ignorant people born out of vasanas, born out of just ignorance, born of some immaturity. So he understands their problem and so understands their mistake also, their criticism, etc. also. So, but he does not basically retaliate. Jnani does not retaliate. Jnani does not criticize them. Even they criticize him. And Jnani does not praise also. He has only one agenda. That what should I do for their spiritual growth? And Shastra has prescribed a sadhanam for every level of a student. So Acharya must be, that is how, see, Acharya must be Shrotriya Brahmanistha. We always say like that. There are some spiritual prodigies who have a Nishtha. They gain Nishtha. They in fact take birth just for gaining Nishtha. Some obstacle was there that has gone by gaining this body. So they become Brahmanistha. But they may not be knowing what are the obstacles because they have gained the Nishtha. And therefore, definitely they cannot help. When other students come to him that I also want to gain a Nishtha, the student may describe certain difficulties, this person is not able to show the solution. Because he himself has not passed. He is a prodigy. He himself has not passed through all this. And therefore, Shrotriyatvam is very important. Shrotriya Brahmanistha, both is very, very important. Merely Brahmanistha, compared to that, we always say Shrotriya Brahmanistha teacher is very important. Because in Veda, there are various sadhanas, etc. are given, and being a Shrotriya, he knows that there are varieties of the means for different level of students. Even Pujya Swamiji described, I do remember, if you read in Tattvabodha, the Shraddha, Sadhan Chatusha Sampatti, In Shraddha portion, you please read that the faith in the teacher. That in fact the teacher has to be little aware of a certain modern psychology also, because nowadays certain problems are such which have been our teachers in the olden days may not have heard of. Such kind of issues are there to the students because of unconscious. So those things come up, and then this teacher doesn't know how to handle. Possible. So he just made a Puja Swamiji made just a remark that he should be little aware of this kind of modern day problems also. Then he can show that this is a solution. May be possible, may not be possible for all the teachers, but this is just he's mentioned about it. So what I'm saying is, so merely spiritual prodigy, etc., they gain nishtha, etc., but they don't know what are the obstacles, etc., because he has not faced these problems being prodigy. So they give an example, like the person who has all the time, like any being who flies all the time. Well, he doesn't know about the speed breakers and he doesn't know about the pitfalls and everything, that kind of a thing. So this is a example. So anyway, our Jnani here, what is under discussion is that Jnani is basically knows all this. So only he has only one thing to do is, according to the level of a student, well, either he prescribes a karma yoga, either he prescribes a upasana, or he may say, well, you are mature enough, better do shravanam, etc. So this way, he may, whatever the means are there, out of that he is able to prescribe. So that's how he says here. Vidyaranya says, Tesham yatha bodha syat tatha acharet. With wise people should act in such a way that others also will be able to gain knowledge. Ultimately, everybody should come to the knowledge. And Atma Jnanam is moksha. Atma Jnanam does one thing is that it helps you to make you lose the notions which you have about yourself. And then they will go away. That's what the Upanishad word means. Nothing that Brahman is revealed for this person. Shastra does not reveal Brahman. Shastra basically removes the notion pertaining that I am a jiva, etc. That notion goes away. What is self-revealing cannot be revealed by the Shastra. That is, we should understand. If self-revealing we say on the one side, and then we say no, if Brahman, the Shastra reveals Brahman, then how it remains self-revealing? In fact, the Shastra is revealed by the Brahman. Ultimately, Shastra yonitva. Anyway, my point is basically you, as a pramata, I go to the Shastra using a pramana, and Shastra does one job is to knock out this pramatrutam. That's a job. If you knock out this pramatrutam, the self-revealing I is taken as a limitless Brahman consciousness. Anyway, so if person is of course not ready for Shravanam, etc., pushing through his mouth won't help. So then he will show other means. So then he will say, well, do Parayanam, do Puja, even do Tirtha Yatra, etc., etc. Many means are there. Or he says, well, take to this Panchamahayagnas, etc., rigorously. So, and say also, be in touch with me. These are our great teachers, they always use this term, be in touch with me. So because then only they will know that now definitely this sadhanam has worked for him, this sadhanam has not worked for him, then this is the alternative, etc., etc. All this. All the teachers, our great teachers, they always say, be in touch with us, be in touch with us. That works very well. They are the anchor. They are the anchor, in fact, in this ocean of samsara, wherever our Jivan Nauka, wherever it goes, anchor should be there. That's how our great teachers, all great teachers, even in present also, they always say, be in touch with us. That's the only purpose is to help the student so that they can lift themselves. Verse 290. Yenayam natanenatra buddhyate karyameva tat agnya-prabodhan naivanyat karyamastyatra tadvidah. So, Vidyaranya makes a joke here now. Yena natanena ayam buddhyate. Means Vidyaranya, ayam is this Ajnani person. Vidyaranya makes a joke here that, well, this Jnani has to dance to the tune of this Ajnani's need. Well, if he wants to do Loka Sangraha, then definitely he has to do. And tat karyameva. Well, so whatever is required, well, on the part of Ajnani, well, Jnani does that. That way the way in which the Jnani knows ultimately the self. For that purpose, whatever has to be done, he does. So, like just as mother, while they taking, food in hand, moves behind this baby all the time. When baby opens mouth, then she just puts the food in the. Then again, with this baby runs around, and then she also moves. As the baby opens the mouth, again put the a morsel of food. Same way, this poor guru also has to do, and he doesn't mind it because he has taken up a Lokasangraha. As is, well, he has a desire for that. He has taken up that project in mind. Agnya Prabodhat. So, Ajnani basically is a child kind of a thing, and well, definitely for Prabodhat, well, the wise person also does ultimately for the Prabodha, for the Jnanam of for the maturity of this Ajnanis. Whatever has to be done, he does. It is chosen by him ultimately. Jnani has chosen this. Other Jnani may say, well, there is no loka, where is question of loka sangraha? That kind of a thing is there also there. That kind of a thing is there. They give example also. They say it is like a waking up and then praying for a person who is sick in dream. So once you wake up and somebody tells you, why don't you pray for a sick person? Where is that sick person? In the dream. So that there is not such kind of a dream. That kind of thing is not possible. Anyway, tatra kenakam pashyet, kenakam jigret, kenakam shrunuyat. Who is seeing what with what? That such kind of Gnani also are there. Then no lok sangraha, etc. Anyway, patra, in this world, anyat karyam nasti. No other agenda is there for our Jnani other than loka sangraha. Tadvida means for a wise person, atra, in this world, anyat karyam nasti. No other agenda other than loka sangraha. We talked about that other type of Jnanis where they don't believe in this. They don't have a prarabdha vasana at all for this kind of a thing. 291. Kritakrutyataya truptaha prapta prapyataya punaha trupyannevam swamanasa manyate sau nirantaram. So Jnani keeps this agenda of uplifting the people from samsara. So he does whatever is required for disciples. So he interacts with them, hear their problems, but because of interaction, the problem should not be transferred to the Jnani, basically. So, so at the end, otherwise mutual transference takes place. The mutual transference should not take place, and it will not take place. It will not take place. Swamiji, the way you are saying as if this kind of thing will not take place, I am telling you. One who knows that there is no sunrise with a certain knowledge, scientific knowledge, and he deals with a person who is ignorant about the phenomena, that there is no sunrise. He doesn't have knowledge. And he may say, the person believes, other person believes that there is real sunrise. And based on that, he talks about, before the sunrise I should do this, and after the sunrise immediately I should do this, and etc. etc. He goes with that. He goes along with that. But at the end of the conversation, it will not happen that the Ajnani will gain the knowledge that there is no sunrise, and this Jnani will ultimately again becomes ignorant that there is no that there is a sunrise. That kind of thing will never happen. because one is mithya, other is satyam. A fact cannot be altered by what is opposite and at the same time which is mithya. And that is experience, opposite experience. And we have talked about it before, of course. Opposite experience, right? There is sunrise is an opposite experience. And the fact is there is no sunrise. The fact will not be altered by the opposite experience, I'm saying, which is definitely mithya, naturally. When I say there is no sunrise is a fact, then there is a sunrise is mithya. You experience, of course. That's how I'm saying mithya. There is no sunrise, that is true. But well, people experience also there is no sunrise, and there is a question of this talking about mithya. You experience it is not real, that is mithya. And therefore, ultimately, this thing, well, so even these two people have a conversation, but the mutual transference does not take place. Because what is satyam, fact, will not be altered by the opposite experience. And therefore, so Vidyaranya says, well, this jnani, even though he does interaction with all these people and hears others' problem and everything, when he is with himself, he does not have a mental chattering. Ajnanis have a tremendous amount of mental chattering, especially when they get up and when they go to sleep. On both the times they talk too much to themselves. Mental chattering. This kind of problem this Jnanis does not have. After interaction with the people, well, he will not have this problem because he sees everything mithya. Whole thing is just a show for him. That way. So krita krityataya, total fulfillment, well, and also is there. And so for him, krita krityataya means what is to be done, he is done. Krityam, to be done. Kritam, done. So krita krityataya, he has a total fulfillment. To be done is for a doer, and well, he is not a doer. Why? Prapta prapyataya, where ultimately nothing is away from me. Whatever has to be accomplished, I have accomplished, and therefore trupta. Well, such a person, well, such mutual transference, etc., will not take place. His knowledge will not be shaken up ultimately by anything. Well, up to this we'll keep. Next verse we'll see next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.